Chapter 6, 7 Cures for a Lean Purse. The glory of Babylon endures. Through the ages, its reputation comes to us as the richest of cities, with fabulous treasures. But it wasn't always like this. The wealth of Babylon was the result of its people's wisdom. First, they had to learn how to become wealthy. When the good king Sargon returned to Babylon after defeating his enemies, the Elamites, he faced a serious situation. The royal chancellor explained it to the king like this.
Your Majesty, we brought our people many years of great prosperity by building the great irrigation canals and the mighty temples of the gods. But now that those works are finished, the people seem unable to support themselves. The laborers have no jobs. The merchants have few customers. The farmers can't sell their produce. The people don't have enough gold to buy food.
The king demanded.
But where has all the gold gone that we spent on these great improvements?
The chancellor responded.
I fear it has found its way into the hands of a few very rich men in our city. It filtered through the fingers of most of our people as quickly as goat's milk goes through a strainer. Now that the stream of gold has stopped flowing, most of our people have nothing to show for their earnings.
The king thought about this for some time. Then he asked.
Why should so few men be able to acquire all the gold? Because they know how,
replied the chancellor.
You can't condemn a man for succeeding because he knows how. Nor is it fair to take away what a man has fairly earned, just to give it to people with less ability. But why shouldn't all the people learn how to accumulate gold?
Demanded the king.
Then they could become rich and prosperous themselves. That is quite possible, Your Excellency. But who can teach them? Certainly not the priests, because they know nothing about making money.
The king asked.
Who in our entire city knows best how to become wealthy, Chancellor? Your question answers itself, Your Majesty. Who has amassed the greatest wealth in Babylon? Well said, my able Chancellor. It is Arked. He is the richest man in Babylon. Bring him to me tomorrow.
The next day, as the king commanded, Arked appeared before him. He stood straight and energetic, even though he was 70 years old.
Arked,
spoke the king.
Is it true you are the richest man in Babylon?
So it is reported, Your Majesty, and no one disputes it.
How did you become so wealthy?
By taking advantage of opportunities that are available to all citizens of our good city.
You had nothing to start with?
Only a great desire for wealth. Besides that, nothing.
The king continued.
Arked, our city is in a very unhappy state. A few men know how to acquire wealth and therefore monopolize it. Meanwhile, the mass of our citizens lack the knowledge of how to keep any part of the gold they receive. I want Babylon to be the wealthiest city in the world. To do that, it must be a city of many wealthy people. Therefore, we must teach everyone how to acquire riches. Tell me, Arked, is there a secret to acquiring wealth? Can it be taught?
It is practical, Your Majesty. What one man knows can be taught to others.
The king's eyes glowed.
Arked, you speak the exact words I want to hear. Will you dedicate yourself to this great cause? Will you teach your knowledge to a school for teachers? Each of them can then teach others, until there are enough trained teachers to share these truths with every worthy subject in my domain.
Arked bowed and said,
I am your humble servant. Whatever knowledge I possess, I will gladly give for the betterment of my fellow men and the glory of my king. Let your good chancellor arrange a class of 100 men for me. I will teach them the 7 cures that fatten my own purse, which used to be the leanest purse in all of Babylon.
2 weeks later, following the king's command, the chosen 100 men assembled in the great hall of the Temple of Learning. They sat on colorful rugs in a semicircle. Arked sat beside a small table. On the table, a sacred lamp smoked, sending out a strange and pleasing scent. A student nudged his neighbor as Arked stood up and whispered.
Look, the richest man in Babylon. He is just a man, exactly like the rest of us.
Arkad began.
As a dutiful subject of our great king, I stand before you in his service. Once, I was a poor youth who greatly desired gold. Because I found the knowledge that let me acquire it, the king has asked me to share my knowledge with you. I started my fortune in the humblest way. I had no advantage that you and every other citizen in Babylon don't also enjoy. The first storehouse of my treasure was a simple purse. I hated its useless emptiness. I wanted it to be round and full, clinking with the sound of gold. Therefore, I looked for every possible remedy for a lean purse. I found 7. To you, who are assembled before me, I will explain the 7 cures for a lean purse. I recommend these to all men who desire plenty of gold. Each day for 7 days, I will explain one of the 7 remedies to you. Listen closely to the knowledge I am about to share. Debate it with me. Discuss it among yourselves. Learn these lessons thoroughly, so that you can plant the seed of wealth in your own purses. First, each of you must wisely start building your own fortune. Only then will you be competent to teach these truths to others. I will teach you in simple ways how to fatten your purses. This is the first step leading to the Temple of Wealth. No man can climb higher if he cannot plant his feet firmly on the first step. We will now consider the first cure.
The first cure. Start fattening your purse. Arkad addressed a thoughtful man in the second row.
My good friend, what kind of work do you do?
The man replied.
I am a scribe, and I carve records onto clay tablets.
I earned my first coppers doing exactly that same labor,
said Arkad.
Therefore, you have the exact same opportunity to build a fortune.
He then spoke to a red-faced man further back.
Please tell me also, what do you do to earn your bread?
I am a meat butcher.
The man responded.
I buy goats from the farmers, process them, and sell the meat to the housewives and the hides to the sandal makers.
Because you also work and earn, you have every advantage to succeed that I possessed.
Arkad proceeded this way to find out how each man worked to earn his living. When he finished questioning them, he said,
Now, my students, you can see there are many trades and jobs where men can earn coins. Each way of earning is a stream of gold. By working, the worker diverts a portion of that stream into his own purse. Therefore, a stream of coins flows into each of your purses. This stream is large or small according to your ability. Isn't that true?
They agreed that it was true.
Then,
Arkad continued.
If each of you wants to build a fortune for yourself, isn't it wise to start by using the source of wealth you have already established?
They agreed to this as well. Then Arkad turned to a humble man who had introduced himself as an egg merchant.
If you select one of your baskets and put 10 eggs into it each morning, but take out only 9 eggs each evening, what will eventually happen?
In time, it will overflow.
Why?
Because each day I put in 1 more egg than I take out.
Arkad turned to the class with a smile.
Does anyone here have a lean purse?
First they looked amused. Then they laughed. Finally, they waved their empty purses as a joke.
All right.
He continued.
Now I will tell you the first remedy I learned to cure a lean purse. Do exactly as I suggested to the egg merchant. For every 10 coins you place in your purse, take out only 9 to use. Your purse will start to fatten at once. Its increasing weight will feel good in your hand and bring satisfaction to your soul. Do not mock what I say because it is simple. The truth is always simple. I told you I would explain how I built my fortune. This was my beginning. I, too, carried a lean purse. I cursed it because it contained nothing to satisfy my desires. But when I started taking out only 9 parts for every 10 I put in, my purse began to fatten. Yours will do the same. Now I will share a strange truth, even though I do not know the reason behind it. When I stopped spending more than 9/10 of my earnings, I managed to get along just as well. I was not any poorer than before. Also, before long, coins came to me much more easily. Surely it is a law of the gods that gold comes more easily to those who keep a certain part of their earnings. Likewise, gold avoids those whose purses are empty. Which do you desire the most? Is it the instant gratification of your daily desires? A jewel, a bit of finery, better clothing, or more food? These things are quickly gone and forgotten. Or do you desire substantial belongings? Gold, lands, herds, merchandise, and income-producing investments? The coins you take out of your purse will buy the first list. The coins you leave inside it will bring you the second. This, my students, was the first cure I discovered for my lean purse. For every 10 coins I put in, I spend only 9. Discuss this among yourselves. If anyone can prove it untrue, tell me tomorrow when we meet again.
The second cure. Control your expenditures.
Some of you have asked me a very good question.
Arkad said, addressing his students on the second day.
How can a man keep 1/10 of everything he earns in his purse when all the coins he makes are not enough to cover his necessary expenses? How many of you carried lean purses yesterday?
He asked.
All of us.
The class answered.
Yet you do not all earn the same amount. Some of you earn much more than others. Some have much larger families to support. But despite these differences, all your purses were equally lean. Now I will tell you an unusual truth about human nature. It is this: what we call our necessary expenses will always grow to equal our incomes, unless we actively stop them from doing so. Do not confuse your necessary expenses with your desires. Each of you, along with your families, have more desires than your earnings can pay for. Because of this, your earnings are spent to gratify these desires as far as the money will go. And yet you still have many unsatisfied desires left over. All men are burdened with more desires than they can satisfy. Do you think I can gratify every desire just because of my wealth? That is a false idea. There are limits to my time. There are limits to my strength. There are limits to the distance I can travel, limits to what I can eat, and limits to the energy I have to enjoy things. I tell you that weeds will grow in a field wherever the farmer leaves space for their roots. In the same way, desires grow freely in people whenever there is a possibility of satisfying them. Your desires are endless, but the ones you can actually gratify are very few. Study your normal living habits very thoughtfully. When you do, you will often find certain accepted expenses that can be wisely reduced or eliminated altogether. Let this be your motto: demand 100% of appreciated value for every single coin you spend. Therefore, engrave on a clay tablet every single thing you wish to spend money on. Select only the expenses that are absolutely necessary, and those that can be paid for out of 9/10 of your income. Cross out the rest. Consider them a part of that endless multitude of desires that must go unsatisfied, and do not regret letting them go. Budget your necessary expenses. Do not touch the 1/10 that is fattening your purse. Let the growth of your purse become your greatest fulfilled desire. Keep working with your budget, and keep adjusting it to help you. Make it your primary assistant in defending your growing wealth.
At this point, one of the students wearing a robe of red and gold stood up.
I am a free man.
He said.
I believe it is my right to enjoy the good things in life. Therefore, I rebel against the slavery of a budget that dictates exactly how much I can spend and what I can spend it on. I feel it would strip away the pleasure in my life and make me little more than a pack-ass carrying a heavy burden.
Arkad replied to him.
Who, my friend, will determine your budget?
I would make it for myself.
The protesting student responded.
In that case, if a pack-ass were to budget his own burden, would he choose to carry jewels, rugs, and heavy bars of gold? No, he would not. He would pack hay, grain, and a bag of water for the desert trail. The purpose of a budget is to help your purse fatten. It exists to help you afford your necessities, and as far as possible, your other desires. It enables you to realize your most cherished dreams by defending them against your casual, everyday wishes. Like a bright light in a dark cave, a budget reveals the leaks from your purse. It allows you to stop them and control your spending for clear, rewarding purposes. This, then, is the second cure for a lean purse. Budget your expenses so that you have coins to pay for your necessities, to pay for your enjoyments, and to gratify your worthwhile desires without spending more than 9/10 of your earnings.
The third cure. Make your gold multiply. On the third day, Arkad addressed his class.
Look at your lean purse. It is finally getting fat. You have disciplined yourself to keep 1/10 of everything you earn. You have controlled your spending to protect your growing treasure. Now, we will talk about how to put that treasure to work so it can grow even more. Keeping gold in a purse feels good, and it might satisfy a miser, but it earns absolutely nothing. The gold we save from our earnings is just the beginning. The money that gold earns for us is what will actually build our fortunes. So, how do we put our gold to work? My very first investment was a disaster, and I lost everything. I will tell you that story later. But my first profitable investment was a loan I made to a shield maker named Agar. Every year, he bought huge shipments of bronze that came from across the sea to use in his business. Because he didn't have enough capital to pay the merchants up front, he would borrow from people who had extra coins. Agar was an honorable man. When he sold his shields, he always paid back the loan, along with a generous rental fee for using the money. Every time I loaned him money, I also loaned back the rental fee he had just paid me. Because of this, my capital increased, and the earnings from it increased too. It was extremely satisfying to watch those growing sums return to my purse. I tell you, my students, a person's wealth is not the coins they carry in their purse. Wealth is the income they build. It is the golden stream that constantly flows into their purse and keeps it bulging. That is what everyone wants. That is what each of you wants, an income that keeps coming in, whether you are working or traveling. I have built a massive income. It is so large that people call me a very rich man. Those loans to Agar were my first real lesson in profitable investing. I gained wisdom from that experience, and as my capital grew, I expanded my loans and investments. At first, my wealth came from just a few places. Later on, it flowed from many different sources. It became a golden stream pouring into my purse, ready for me to use wisely however I chose. From my humble beginnings, I had raised an army of golden slaves. Each one worked hard and earned me even more gold. And as they worked for me, their children worked for me too, and then their children's children. Eventually, the income from all their combined efforts became massive. Gold grows incredibly fast when it earns a reasonable return, as you will see from this story. A farmer had his first son. He took 10 pieces of silver to a money lender and asked him to hold it in an account for the boy until he turned 20. The money lender agreed. He promised that the rental fee would be 1/4 of the silver's value every 4 years. Because the farmer wanted this money to be a dedicated fund for his son, he asked the money lender to add the rental fee directly to the principal. When the boy turned 20, the farmer went back to the money lender to ask about the silver. The money lender explained that because the money had been earning compound interest, the original 10 pieces of silver had grown into 30.5 pieces. The farmer was thrilled. Since his son didn't need the coins right then, he left them with the money lender. When the son turned 50, the father had already passed away. But the money lender settled the account and paid the son a total of 167 pieces of silver. In 50 years, that single investment had multiplied almost 17 times. This is the third cure for a lean purse: put every single coin to work. Let it reproduce itself, just like flocks in the fields. Let it build your income into a massive stream of wealth that flows constantly into your purse.
The fourth cure. Guard your treasures from loss. On the fourth day, Arkad spoke to his class again.
Misfortune loves a shiny target. If you don't guard the gold in your purse firmly, it will be lost. That is why it is smart to start by securing small amounts of money. You must learn to protect the small sums before the gods will ever trust you with larger ones. Every person with gold gets tempted by opportunities. It often seems like you could make huge amounts of money by investing in projects that sound perfectly reasonable. Sometimes, friends and relatives eagerly jump into these investments and urge you to follow them. The first sound principle of investing is the security of your principal. Is it really smart to chase after huge earnings if you might lose your original investment? I say no. The penalty for taking careless risks is almost always losing your money. Before you hand over your treasure, study the situation carefully. Make absolutely sure you can get your money back safely. Don't let your own romantic dreams of getting rich quick mislead you. Before you loan money to anyone, make certain they actually have the ability to pay you back. Check their reputation for keeping promises. Otherwise, you might just be giving them your hard-earned treasure as a gift. Before you put your money into any new field, familiarize yourself with all the dangers and risks involved. My own first investment was a total tragedy at the time. I took an entire year's worth of guarded savings and trusted it to a brickmaker named Asmer. He was traveling across the far seas to Tyre, and he agreed to buy rare Phoenician jewels for me. We planned to sell them when he got back and split the profits. But the Phoenicians were scoundrels, and they sold him worthless bits of glass. My treasure was entirely lost. Today, my experience would instantly show me how foolish it is to trust a brickmaker to buy jewels. So, I give you this advice based on my own painful experiences. Do not be too confident in your own wisdom. When you are dealing with the pitfalls of investing, it is much better to consult people who actually have experience handling money for profit. That kind of advice is freely given if you just ask for it. It can easily be worth just as much as the gold you are planning to invest. In fact, if it saves you from a massive loss, that is its exact value. This is the fourth cure for a lean purse, and it is incredibly important because it stops your purse from being emptied once you finally fill it. Guard your treasure from loss. Only invest where your principal is perfectly safe, where you can reclaim it if you need to, and where you are guaranteed to collect a fair return. Consult with wise people. Get advice from those who are experienced in managing gold profitably. Let their wisdom protect your treasure from unsafe investments.
The fifth cure. Make your home a profitable investment. On the fifth day, Arkad taught his next lesson.
Suppose a man sets aside 9/10 of his earnings to live on and enjoy life. If he can take any part of that 9/10 and turn it into a profitable investment without hurting his well-being, his wealth will grow so much faster. Far too many men in Babylon raise their families in terrible conditions. They pay demanding landlords high rents for cramped rooms. In these places, their wives don't have a single spot of dirt to grow the flowers that make a woman's heart happy. Their children have nowhere to play their games except in the dirty alleys. No family can fully enjoy life unless they have their own plot of ground. Children need a place to play in the clean earth. A wife needs space to grow beautiful blossoms and rich herbs to feed her family. It brings pure joy to a man's heart to eat figs from his own trees and grapes from his own vines. Owning your own home, and making it a place you are proud to care for, puts confidence in your heart. It puts greater energy behind everything you do. Because of this, I strongly recommend that every person own the roof that shelters them and their family. And it is not impossible for any well-intentioned person to own a home. Hasn't our great king extended the walls of Babylon so far that there is plenty of unused land inside? That land can be bought for incredibly reasonable prices. I also tell you, my students, that moneylenders are happy to work with people who want homes and land for their families. If you can show that you have saved a reasonable portion of the money yourself, you can easily borrow the rest to pay the brickmakers and builders. It is a highly commendable purpose. Once your house is built, you simply pay the moneylender with the exact same regularity that you used to pay the landlord. Because every payment reduces your debt to the moneylender, it will only take a few years to pay off the loan completely. Then your heart will be happy, because you will actually own a valuable piece of property. From then on, your only cost will be the king's taxes. Your good wife will gladly go to the river more often to wash your clothes, because she knows that on her way back, she can bring a goatskin of water to pour on her own growing garden. So many blessings come to the person who owns their own house. It greatly reduces your cost of living, which frees up more of your earnings for life's pleasures and satisfying your desires. This is the fifth cure for a lean purse: own your own home.
The sixth cure. Ensure a future income. On the sixth day, Arkad addressed his class once more.
Every person's life moves naturally from childhood to old age. This is the path of life, and no one can step off it unless the gods call them away prematurely. Because of this, I say that you must prepare a suitable income for the future. You must plan for the days when you are no longer young. You must also make preparations for your family, in case you are no longer there to comfort and support them. This lesson will teach you how to keep a full purse when time has made you less able to work and learn. A person who understands the laws of wealth and builds a growing surplus must think about those future days. They should set up certain investments and provisions that will last safely for many years. These investments must be ready and available when that anticipated time finally arrives. There are many ways a person can safely provide for their future. They could find a hiding place and bury a secret treasure. But no matter how skillfully it is hidden, thieves might still find and steal it. For this reason, I do not recommend this plan. A person might buy houses or lands for this purpose. If they are chosen wisely for their future usefulness and value, they become permanent assets. Their earnings or future sale will provide well for this purpose. A person might loan a small sum to the money lender and add to it at regular periods. The interest that the money lender adds will greatly increase its value. I know a sandal maker named Anson. He explained to me not long ago that every week for 8 years, he had deposited 2 pieces of silver with his money lender. The money lender recently gave him an accounting, and Anson rejoiced greatly. The total of his small deposits, along with the interest at the customary rate of 1/4 their value every 4 years, had grown to 1,040 pieces of silver. I gladly encouraged him further. I used my knowledge of numbers to show him that in 12 more years, if he kept depositing just 2 pieces of silver each week, the money lender would owe him 4,000 pieces of silver. This would be a worthy income for the rest of his life. Surely, when such a small regular payment produces such profitable results, no one can afford not to secure a treasure for their old age and the protection of their family. This is true no matter how prosperous their business and investments may currently be. I wish I could say more about this. I believe that someday, wise-thinking people will invent a plan to insure against death. Under this plan, many people would regularly pay in a tiny sum, and the combined amount would provide a handsome sum for the family of each member who passes away. I see this as something desirable, and I would highly recommend it. But today, this is not possible because it must operate beyond the life of any single person or partnership. It must be as stable as the king's throne. I feel that someday such a plan will come to pass and be a great blessing to many people. Even the first small payment would make a snug fortune available for a member's family if they passed on. But we live in our own time, not in the days to come. We must take advantage of the means and ways available to accomplish our goals. Therefore, I recommend to everyone that they use wise and well-thought-out methods to protect against a lean purse in their later years. A lean purse is a terrible tragedy for someone who is no longer able to earn, or for a family that has lost its provider. This, then, is the sixth cure for a lean purse: provide in advance for the needs of your growing age and the protection of your family.
The seventh cure: increase your ability to earn.
Today I will speak to you, my students, about one of the most vital remedies for a lean purse.
Arkad addressed his class on the 7th day.
However, I will not talk about gold, but about yourselves. I will talk about the men beneath the brightly colored robes who sit before me. I will talk to you about the things within the minds and lives of people that work for or against their success. Not long ago, a young man came to me seeking to borrow money. When I asked him why he needed it, he complained that his earnings were not enough to pay his expenses. I explained to him that in this case, he was a bad customer for the money lender. He had no extra earning capacity to repay the loan. I told him, "What you need, young man, is to earn more coins. What are you doing to increase your capacity to earn?" "All that I can do," he replied. 6 times in the last 2 months I have approached my master to ask for a raise, but without success. No one can go more often than that. We might smile at his simplicity, yet he did possess one of the vital requirements to increase his earnings. Within him was a strong desire to earn more, which is a proper and commendable desire. Desire must come before accomplishment. Your desires must be strong and definite. General desires are nothing more than weak longings. For a person to simply wish to be rich has little purpose. But for a person to desire 5 pieces of gold is a tangible goal that they can push toward fulfillment. Once they have backed their desire for 5 pieces of gold with a strong purpose to secure it, they can then find similar ways to obtain 10 pieces, then 20 pieces, and later 1,000 pieces. Look at that, they have become wealthy. By learning to secure one definite small desire, they have trained themselves to secure a larger one. This is the process by which wealth is accumulated. It starts with small sums, then grows to larger ones as a person learns and becomes more capable. Desires must be simple and definite. They defeat their own purpose if they are too many, too confusing, or beyond a person's training to accomplish. As a person perfects themselves in their profession, their ability to earn increases. Back when I was a humble scribe carving upon clay tablets for a few copper coins each day, I noticed that other workers did more than I did and were paid more. Therefore, I determined that I would not be outperformed by anyone. It did not take long for me to discover the reason for their greater success. I put more interest into my work, concentrated harder on my tasks, and persisted in my efforts. Soon, few could carve more tablets in a day than I could. With reasonable promptness, my increased skill was rewarded. It was not necessary for me to go to my master 6 times to request recognition. The more wisdom we possess, the more we can earn. The person who seeks to learn more about their craft will be richly rewarded. If they are an artisan, they should seek to learn the methods and tools of the most skillful in their trade. If they work in law or medicine, they should consult and exchange knowledge with others in their profession. If they are a merchant, they should continually seek better goods that can be bought at lower prices. Human affairs always change and improve because sharp-minded people seek greater skill to better serve those who rely on them. Therefore, I urge everyone to be at the forefront of progress and not to stand still, or else they will be left behind. Many things make a person's life rich with profitable experiences. If a person respects themselves, they must do the following things. They must pay their debts as promptly as possible, and not buy what they cannot afford to pay for. They must take care of their families so that their loved ones may think and speak well of them. They must create a written will so that if the gods call them away, their property will be divided properly and honorably. They must have compassion for those who are injured and struck by misfortune, and help them within reasonable limits. They must also do thoughtful deeds for those dear to them. Thus, the 7th and final remedy for a lean purse is to cultivate your own powers. Study and become wiser, become more skillful, and act in a way that makes you respect yourself. By doing this, you will gain the self-confidence needed to achieve your carefully considered desires. These, then, are the 7 cures for a lean purse. Out of the experience of a long and successful life, I urge all who desire wealth to follow them. There is more gold in Babylon, my students, than you could ever dream of. There is an abundance for everyone. Go forth and practice these truths so that you may prosper and grow wealthy, as is your right. Go forth and teach these truths so that every honorable subject of His Majesty may also share generously in the ample wealth of our beloved city.
Chapter 7, Meet the Goddess of Good Luck.
If a man is lucky, there is no telling how far his good fortune will reach. Throw him into the Euphrates River, and chances are he will swim out with a pearl in his hand.
Babylonian Proverb. The desire to be lucky is universal. It was just as strong in the hearts of men 4,000 years ago in ancient Babylon as it is today. We all hope to be favored by the unpredictable goddess of good luck. Is there some way we can meet her? Can we attract her favorable attention and receive her generous gifts? Is there a reliable way to attract good luck? That is exactly what the men of ancient Babylon wanted to know, and it is exactly what they decided to find out. They were shrewd men and keen thinkers. That explains why their city became the richest and most powerful in the world at that time. In that distant past, they did not have schools or colleges. However, they did have a center of learning, and it was a very practical one. Among the towering buildings in Babylon was one that ranked in importance with the king's palace, the hanging gardens, and the temples of the gods. You will rarely see it mentioned in history books. In fact, it is likely not mentioned at all. Yet, it had a powerful influence on the thinking of that era. This building was the Temple of Learning. Here, voluntary teachers explained the wisdom of the past, and subjects of popular interest were discussed in open forums. Inside its walls, all men met as equals. Even the humblest slave could freely debate the opinions of a royal prince without fear of punishment. Among the many who visited the Temple of Learning was a wise, wealthy man named Arcad. He was known as the richest man in Babylon. He had his own special hall. Almost every evening, a large group of men would gather there. Some were old, some were very young, but most were middle-aged. They came together to discuss and argue about interesting subjects. Let's listen in and see if they knew how to attract good luck. The sun had just set. It looked like a great red ball of fire shining through the hazy desert dust as Arcad strolled up to his usual platform. A full 80 men were already waiting for him, reclining on small rugs spread across the floor, and more were still arriving.
What shall we discuss tonight?
Arcad asked. After a brief hesitation, a tall cloth weaver stood up to speak, as was the custom.
I have a subject I would like to hear discussed. However, I hesitate to bring it up, because I fear it might seem ridiculous to you, Arcad, and to my good friends here.
Arcad and the others urged him to speak, so the weaver continued.
Today, I have been very lucky because I found a purse filled with pieces of gold. I want nothing more than to continue being lucky. I feel that all men share this desire. Therefore, I suggest we debate how to attract good luck, so we can discover ways to entice it to come to us.
A most interesting subject has been offered.
Arcad commented.
It is very worthy of our discussion. To some men, good luck is just a chance happening. They think it is like an accident that occurs without purpose or reason. Others believe that our most generous goddess, Ashta, is the source of all good fortune, and that she is always eager to reward those who please her with generous gifts. Speak up, my friends. What do you say? Should we try to find out if there are ways to attract good luck to visit every single one of us?
Yes. Yes. And a lot of it.
Responded the growing group of eager listeners. Arcad then continued.
To start our discussion, let's first hear from anyone here who has had an experience similar to the cloth weavers. Has anyone found or received valuable treasures or jewels without putting in any effort?
There was a pause as everyone looked around expecting someone to reply, but no one did.
What, no one?
Arcad said.
Then this kind of good luck must be rare indeed. Who will offer a suggestion on where we should look next?
I will,
said a well-dressed young man as he stood up.
When a man speaks of luck, isn't it natural to think of the gambling tables? Isn't that where many men court the goddess's favor, hoping she will bless them with big winnings?
As he sat back down, a voice called out.
Don't stop. Keep going with your story. Tell us, did you find favor with the goddess at the gambling tables? Did she turn the dice so the red side landed facing up, allowing you to fill your purse at the dealer's expense? Or did she let the blue sides come up, so the dealer raked in your hard-earned pieces of silver?
The young man joined the good-natured laughter, then replied.
I don't mind admitting that she didn't even seem to know I was there. But what about the rest of you? Have you found her waiting around those places to roll the dice in your favor? We are just as eager to hear and learn.
A wise start,
Interrupted Arcad.
We meet here to consider all sides of every question. If we ignored the gambling tables, we would overlook an instinct that is common to most men. That instinct is the love of taking a chance with a small amount of silver in the hope of winning a lot of gold.
That reminds me of the races just yesterday.
Another listener called out.
If the goddess hangs around the gambling tables, she surely doesn't overlook the races. The gilded chariots and foaming horses offer far more excitement. Tell us honestly, Arcad. Did she whisper in your ear to bet on those grey horses from Nineveh yesterday? I was standing right behind you, and I could hardly believe my ears when I heard you place your bet on the greys. You know as well as any of us that no team in all of Assyria can beat our beloved bay horses in a fair race. Did the goddess whisper in your ear? Did she tell you to bet on the greys because, at the last turn, the inside black horse would stumble and interfere with our bays, allowing the greys to win an unearned victory?
Arcad smiled indulgently at the teasing.
Why should we think the good goddess would take that much interest in any man's bet on a horse race? To me, she is a goddess of love and dignity whose pleasure is to help those in need and to reward those who deserve it. I don't look for her at the gambling tables or the races, where men lose more gold than they win. Instead, I look for her in other places where the work of men is more worthwhile and more deserving of a reward. When a man tills the soil, engages in honest trade, or does any kind of work, he has the opportunity to make a profit from his efforts. He might not be rewarded every single time. Sometimes his judgment might be faulty, and other times the wind and weather might defeat his efforts. But if he is persistent, he can usually expect to make a profit, because the chances of success are always in his favor. However, when a man gambles, the situation is entirely flipped. The odds of profiting are always against him and always in favor of the gamekeeper. The game is specifically designed to favor the house. It is a business, and the keeper plans to make a generous profit from the coins the players bet. Very few players realize how guaranteed the gamekeeper's profits are, and how uncertain their own chances of winning truly are. For example, let's look at bets placed on the dice. Each time it's thrown, we bet on which side will face up. If it's the red side, the game master pays us 4 times our bet. But if any of the other 5 sides face up, we lose our money. The math shows that for each throw, we have 5 chances to lose. But because the red side pays 4-1, we only have 4 chances to win. Over a night of playing, the game master expects to keep 1/5 of all the wagered coins as his profit. How can a man expect to win more than just occasionally against odds that are rigged to make him lose 1/5 of all his bets?
Yet some men do win large sums at times.
Volunteered one of the listeners.
Quite so they do.
Arcad continued.
Realizing this, I have to ask myself whether money secured in such ways brings permanent value to those who get lucky. I know many of the successful men of Babylon. Yet, among all of them, I cannot name a single one who got his start from the gaming tables. You who are gathered here tonight know many more of our prominent citizens. I would be very interested to learn how many of them can credit the gaming tables with their start to success. Suppose each of you tell us about anyone you know. What do you say?
After a prolonged silence, a joker ventured.
Would your question include the gamekeepers?
If you can think of no one else.
Arcad responded.
If not one of you can think of anyone else, then how about yourselves? Are there any consistent winners among us who would hesitate to recommend gambling as a source of income?
His challenge was answered by a series of groans from the back. The groans quickly spread into loud laughter.
It seems we are not looking for good luck in the places where the goddess actually hangs out.
He continued.
Therefore, let us explore other fields. We have not found luck in picking up lost wallets. Neither have we found it haunting the gaming tables. As for the horse races, I must confess that I have lost far more coins there than I have ever won. Now, suppose we consider our trades and businesses. When we finish a profitable transaction, isn't it natural to view it as a just reward for our efforts, rather than good luck? I am inclined to think we might be overlooking the gifts of the goddess. Perhaps she really does assist us even when we do not appreciate her generosity. Who can suggest something else to discuss?
At that, an elderly merchant stood up, smoothing his elegant white robe.
With your permission, most honorable Arcade and my friends, I offer a suggestion. You said that we take credit for our business success, blaming our own hard work and ability. So why not consider the successes we almost enjoyed, but which escaped us? I am talking about missed opportunities that would have been highly profitable. They would have been rare examples of good luck if they had actually happened. Because they were not fulfilled, we cannot consider them our just rewards. Surely many men here have similar experiences to share.
That is a wise approach.
Arcade approved.
Who among you has had good luck within your grasp, only to watch it slip away?
Many hands were raised, including the merchants. Arcade motioned for him to speak.
Since you suggested this approach, we would like to hear from you first.
I will gladly tell a story.
The merchant resumed.
It shows just how close good luck can get to a man. It also shows how blindly he might let it escape, causing him great loss and deep regret later on. Many years ago, I was a young man. I was newly married and earning a good living. One day, my father came to me and strongly urged me to make an investment. The son of one of his good friends had noticed a barren tract of land. It was located not far beyond the outer walls of our city. The land sat high above the canal, completely out of reach of the water. This young man had devised a clever plan. He wanted to purchase the land and build 3 large water wheels. These wheels would be operated by oxen, lifting the life-giving water up to the fertile soil. Once the land was watered, he planned to divide it into smaller tracts. Then, he would sell those tracts to the city residents for herb gardens. However, he did not have enough gold to complete such a massive undertaking. Like me, he was just a young man earning a fair wage. His father, like mine, had a large family and very little money. Therefore, he decided to gather a group of men to join the enterprise with him. The group would consist of 12 men. Each man had to be earning a steady income. They all had to agree to invest 1/10 of their earnings into the project until the land was ready to be sold. Once the land was sold, everyone would share the profits fairly, in proportion to what they had invested. My son, my father said to me, you are a grown man now. It is my deepest desire that you begin building a valuable estate for yourself. I want you to become a respected man in the community. I want to see you profit by learning from the thoughtless mistakes I made when I was your age. I want that very much, father, I replied. Then here is my advice, he told me. Do exactly what I should have done at your age. Set aside 1/10 of your earnings and put it into favorable investments. With that 10% and the additional money it will earn, you can build a valuable estate long before you reach my age. Your words are very wise, father, I told him. I greatly desire riches. Yet, there are so many things I need to spend my earnings on right now. Because of that, I hesitate to follow your advice. I am still young. There is plenty of time. That is exactly what I thought when I was your age, he warned. But look at me now. Many years have passed, and I still haven't even started. We live in a different age now, father, I argued. I will be sure to avoid your mistakes. Opportunity stands right in front of you, my son, he pleaded. It is offering you a chance that could lead to great wealth. I beg of you, do not delay. Go tomorrow morning and meet with my friend's son. Agree to pay 10% of your earnings into this investment. Go promptly. Opportunity waits for no man. Today it is here, soon it will be gone. Therefore, do not delay. In spite of my father's passionate advice, I hesitated. Tradesmen from the East had just brought in some beautiful new robes. The fabrics were so rich and beautiful that my wife and I felt we simply had to buy them. If I agreed to pay 1/10 of my earnings into the irrigation project, we would have to deprive ourselves of those robes and other pleasures we dearly wanted. I kept delaying my decision until it was finally too late. I have regretted it ever since. That enterprise ended up being far more profitable than anyone had predicted. So, that is my story. It shows exactly how I allowed good luck to slip through my fingers. In this tale, we see that good luck comes to the man who accepts opportunity.
Commented a dark-skinned man from the desert.
To build an estate, there must always be a beginning. That start might just be a few pieces of gold or silver that a man redirects from his earnings into his first investment. I own many herds of animals myself. I started building my herds when I was just a young boy. I used a single piece of silver to buy a young calf. Because it was the beginning of my wealth, that single purchase was incredibly important to me. Taking that first step to build an estate is the best luck that can come to any man. For all men, that first step is the most important one. It transforms them from men who only earn money through their own hard labor, into men who draw dividends from the earnings of their gold. Some men are fortunate enough to take that step when they are young. By doing so, they completely outstrip the financial success of those who start later. They also leave behind unfortunate men, like the father of this merchant, who never take that step at all. If our friend, the merchant, had taken that step in his youth when the opportunity first presented itself, he would be blessed with far more wealth today. If our other friend, the cloth weaver, let his recent good luck inspire him to take that step now, it will certainly be the beginning of much greater fortune for him. Thank you. I would like to speak, too.
A stranger from another country stood up.
I am a Syrian. I do not speak your language very well. I want to call this merchant friend of ours a specific name. You might think this name is not very polite. Even so, I want to call him that. But, unfortunately, I do not know your word for it. If I say it in Syrian, you won't understand me. Therefore, please, some good gentleman, tell me the right word for a man who constantly puts off doing the things that are very good for him. Procrastinator.
Called a voice from the crowd.
That's the word.
Shouted the Syrian, waving his hands excitedly.
He does not accept opportunity when she comes. He waits. He says, I have too much business right now. I will talk to you later. Opportunity will not wait for such a slow fellow. She believes that if a man truly desires to be lucky, he will move quickly. Any man who does not move quickly when opportunity knocks is a big procrastinator, just like our friend the merchant.
The merchant stood up and bowed good-naturedly in response to the laughter.
I admire you, stranger within our gates, because you do not hesitate to speak the truth.
Now let us hear another tale of opportunity. Who has another experience to share with us?
Arkad asked.
I do.
Responded a middle-aged man in a red robe.
I am a buyer of animals, mostly camels and horses. Sometimes I also buy sheep and goats. The tale I am about to tell will show truthfully how opportunity came one night when I least expected it. Perhaps that is exactly why I let it escape. You will have to be the judge of that. I returned to the city one evening after a frustrating 10-day journey searching for camels. I was very angry to find the gates of the city closed and locked. My slaves began setting up our tent for the night. We expected to spend it with very little food and no water. Then, I was approached by an elderly farmer. Just like us, he found himself locked outside the city. Honored sir, he said to me, from your appearance, I judge you to be a buyer. If that is true, I would very much like to sell you my excellent flock of sheep. We just drove them up here. Unfortunately, my good wife lies very sick with a fever. I must return home as quickly as possible. Please buy my sheep. Then, my slaves and I can mount our camels and travel back without any delay. It was so dark that I could not see his flock. However, from the sound of their bleating, I knew it must be a large one. I had just wasted 10 days searching for camels that I could not find. So, I was glad to bargain with him. In his anxiety to leave, he set a very reasonable price. I accepted his offer. I knew perfectly well that my slaves could drive the flock through the city gates in the morning and sell them for a substantial profit. Once the bargain was made, I called my slaves to bring torches. We needed to count the flock, which the farmer claimed contained 900 sheep. I will not burden you, my friends, with a description of our struggles. It was incredibly difficult to count so many thirsty, restless, milling sheep. In fact, it proved to be an impossible task. Therefore, I bluntly told the farmer that I would count them at daylight and pay him then. Please, most honorable sir, he pleaded. Just pay me 2/3 of the price tonight so that I can be on my way. I will leave my most intelligent and educated slave behind to help you make the count in the morning. He is trustworthy, and you can pay the balance to him. But I was stubborn and refused to make any payment that night. The next morning, before I even woke up, the city gates opened. For buyers rushed out in search of flocks. They were extremely eager and willing to pay high prices. The city was threatened with a siege, and food was running short. The old farmer received nearly 3 times the price he had offered the flock to me. And that is how a rare piece of good luck was allowed to escape.
Here is a most unusual tale.
Arkad commented.
What wisdom does it suggest?
It shows the wisdom of making a payment immediately when we are convinced our bargain is a wise one.
Suggested an older, respected saddle maker.
If the bargain is good, you need protection against your own weaknesses just as much as against any other man. We mortals are changeable. Sadly, I must say we are more likely to change our minds when we are right than when we are wrong. When we are wrong, we are very stubborn indeed. When we are right, we tend to hesitate and let opportunity escape. My first judgment is usually my best. Yet, I have always found it difficult to force myself to follow through with a good bargain once it is made. Therefore, as a protection against my own weaknesses, I always make a prompt deposit right away. This saves me from later regrets over the good luck that should have been mine. Thank you. I would like to speak again.
The Syrian was on his feet once more.
These tales are very much alike. Each time, opportunity flies away for the exact same reason. Each time, she comes to a procrastinator, bringing a good plan. Each time, they hesitate. They do not say, right now is the best time, I must do it quickly. How can men succeed that way? Your words are wise, my friend.
Responded the buyer.
Good luck fled from procrastination in both of these tales. Yet, this is not unusual. The spirit of procrastination lives inside all men. We all desire riches. However, when opportunity appears before us, that inner spirit of procrastination often urges us to delay our acceptance. By listening to it, we become our own worst enemies. In my younger days, I did not know it by this long word that our friend from Syria enjoys using. At first, I thought it was my own poor judgment that caused me to lose so many profitable trades. Later, I blamed it on my stubborn disposition. Finally, I recognized it for exactly what it was. It was a habit of needless delaying when action was required, prompt and decisive action. How I hated it once its true character was finally revealed to me. With the fierce bitterness of a wild donkey hitched to a chariot, I finally broke loose from this enemy of my success. Thank you. I would like to ask a question to Mr. Merchant.
The Syrian was speaking again.
You wear fine robes, unlike those of a poor man. You speak like a successful man. Tell us, Do you still listen now when procrastination whispers in your ear? Like our friend the buyer, I also had to recognize and conquer procrastination.
The merchant responded.
To me, it proved to be an enemy, always watching and waiting to ruin my accomplishments. The tale I just shared is only one of many similar examples. I could tell you many more stories to show how it drove away my opportunities. But it is not difficult to conquer once it is understood. No man willingly allows a thief to rob his bins of grain. Nor does any man willingly allow an enemy to drive away his customers and rob him of his profits. Once I recognized that my enemy was committing these exact crimes against me, I conquered him with fierce determination. Every man must master his own spirit of procrastination in this same way before he can ever expect to share in the rich treasures of Babylon. What do you say, Arked? Because you are the richest man in Babylon, many people proclaim you to be the luckiest. Do you agree with me that no man can arrive at a full measure of success until he has completely crushed the spirit of procrastination within himself?
It is exactly as you say,
Arked admitted.
During my long life, I have watched generation after generation. They march forward along those avenues of trade, science, and learning that lead to success in life. Opportunities came to all of these men. Some grasped theirs and moved steadily towards satisfying their deepest desires. But the majority hesitated, faltered, and fell behind.
Arked turned to the cloth weaver.
You suggested that we debate good luck. Let us hear what you think about the subject now.
I see good luck in a different light now.
The cloth weaver said.
I had thought of it as something highly desirable that might simply happen to a man without any effort on his part. Now, I realize such magical events are not the sort of thing a person can actively attract to himself. From our discussion, I have learned that to attract good luck, it is absolutely necessary to take advantage of opportunities. Therefore, in the future, I will make every effort to make the best of the opportunities that come to me.
You have perfectly grasped the truths brought out in our discussion,
Arked replied.
We find that good luck often follows opportunity, but it seldom comes any other way. Our merchant friend would have found great good luck if he had accepted the opportunity the good goddess presented to him. Our friend the buyer, likewise, would have enjoyed good luck if he had completed the purchase of the sheep flock and sold them at such a handsome profit. We pursued this discussion to find a way to entice good luck to come to us. I feel that we have successfully found the way. Both of the tales illustrated exactly how good luck follows opportunity. Here lies a powerful truth that many similar tales of good luck, whether won or lost, could never change. The truth is this: good luck can be enticed by accepting opportunity. Those who are eager to grasp opportunities for their own betterment will attract the interest of the good goddess. She is always anxious to help those who please her. And men of action please her the best. Taking action will lead you forward to the successes you deeply desire.
Men of action are favored by the goddess of good luck.